guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my friend Angelika. Angelika, tell them what you do.
So I am a freelance dancer. I work for Disney, an equity performer over at Beauty and the Beast, and then also I do freelance photography and videography, so just all the art forms.
Yeah, and she's phenomenal. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about her career, but mostly about like mental health within it. So just keep watching. You can take a minute to think about it. I'm just gonna like air out the back of my shirt because I'm sweating. Angelika, what are your thoughts about mental health in the arts?
Well, first of all, I think everyone should take care of their mental health. I think it's an every person kind of thing. I don't think it's like, specific to the arts in any way, but I do find that artists and people that are in creative fields that we're highly, emotional people. We're passionate people. We love what we do and we put like our hearts into what we do.
We are.
So yeah, it's very true. So I think just for people like us who are, usually empaths and very compassionate people and very creative people, I think that processing your emotions and processing what's happening inside of you is even more important.
If you could go back in time and talk to your 12-year-old self about your career and mental health and like them kind of linking together, what's like advice you would give them?
Oh man, that's a good one. Well, when I was 12, I had so many ambitions. I still do, but I think I had like a list of things I wanted to do. Like I was like, I'm gonna do all this crazy stuff, and I was like bucket list at age 12. It was like really silly.
I feel like it's like a performer thing though. Like we want to like conquer the world.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah,
totally. We're like, well, I'm like 12 now and I'm late. Like it's
like,
hilarious.
I'll be on Broadway by 13.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one thing that I would say, because I do think that being your own business owner, like the way that I am, has definitely taken a toll on my mental health, has definitely challenged my mental health. And so I would tell myself to never value what you accomplish, like your productivity, over your mental health. Like I would say, what are the things that are your core values, and like keep those at the center of everything that you do, versus kind of like trying to climb the ladder of success, or are you making it, making the money that you want to make, or are you on the shows that you want to be in? I mean, I think being driven is really important, but for me personally, my personality is to kind of like just like go a little overboard with that and neglect myself and not take care of myself. So I would tell myself to definitely prioritize just being happy, like living in the moment, being a kid, like being a kid and enjoying the ride, because it doesn't last forever.
And remembering like why you started it in the first place.
Totally.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes as performers, like we get so involved with like real life things, like all of a sudden bills are happening and stuff like that. It's like we forget the love of dance and our art sometimes.
Totally.
And that's like gets pushed to the side, or it's stressful.
Yeah.
Do you have any like rituals or like things you do before going on stage at like Disney that helps with mental health? Like you listen to a certain song, or like you do your makeup a certain way? Because I know like for me, like before like trolley and stuff, I always like do my makeup the exact same way every day, and that's like therapeutic to me. And I think that like prepares me to be like, okay, like today's gonna be a good day. Do you have anything like that, or maybe like after show?
I think if I'm having a day and I know that I need to like lay low, I'm definitely just being mindful where I put my energy. So I'm just being mindful, like, as I'm doing my makeup, as I'm getting ready, just internalizing, like kind of like pepping myself up. But I usually kind of do that on the inside, and I'm a little bit more, like I said, like low key. Like I just kind of like, I will sometimes listen to a podcast or something while I'm doing my music, or listen to music that relaxes me or something like that, or like I'll say like a little prayer and I'll be like, okay God, here's my day, like something like that. No, I mean nothing super like consistently, but I kind of just try to check in with myself and take time to like step away, like if I need to. But if there's something really like big going on, like I definitely like get in the zone, like do all the things I need to do, stretch, and like that's what I'll really be like more focused. But on a day-to-day, there's nothing really particular that I do.
Okay, but still, like getting yourself in that mindset and knowing that you're having a bad day and being able to like check that at the door and being able to
and not take it to other people, like kind of realizing like it's not about other people, like it's about me. Whatever's going on is like about me, and I need to still show like love and respect to other people with whatever energy I have. So also giving myself the grace that if I have this much today, then this is how much I have today, and I'm going to give you as much as I have, you know, but I'm not going to hold myself to a standard that isn't realistic if I'm not there that day.
Do you think as a performer we neglect me time? Like, do you think sometimes, I know like for me doing like morning routines and stuff like that, do you think as performers it's harder for us to like accept that we need that time for ourselves because we're so used to like giving?
I think that's a people problem. I think people just have that problem where we feel like if we say no, you know, or if we kind of give ourselves first place that day, like, you know, kind of take care of ourselves first, that it's like we believe, like we have this like deep rooted belief that that's like wrong, that we should be like giving to other people first.
Yeah.
And I think like it holds true, but like, you know, you can't give from an empty cup. Like that's always like something that is a mantra of mine, and you just can't. And you know, it doesn't really matter what the backlash is. Like you kind of have to like know when to say no. And I think one thing that I think is important is to be like very like clear and direct about where you're at. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like just like exactly like just be okay with that. So I think that if we can learn as a society or as performers just in general, I think it's a personality type thing. If we can learn to be braver about that and not be ashamed or feel guilty about like asking for something or like kind of expressing here's where I'm at, like here's what I can give, or here's where, you know what I mean, like kind of being like clear about that, then I think that we're all gonna feel like we do have time and space to like fuel ourselves, that we can put ourselves first when we need to.
Putting ourselves first in a positive way instead of in a selfish way.
Correct. Like in a way that like creates free love, free giving, free generosity. Like if generosity is forced or generosity is fabricated, then it's not free and it loses its meaning. And it just creates bitterness for you. So if you give from a place of purity, like I wanted to help in this area, or I wanted to be on for you, I wanted to whatever it was, like I think that is better for everyone in the end. Yeah. If that makes sense. So I mean, I do think that performers have that issue, but I think everyone has that issue, to be honest.
It's like a worldly issue.
It's like a worldwide problem.
Yeah, I feel like there's also like that fine line and like stigma in society that like between like being selfish and like taking care of yourself. Like it's like that like fine line of realizing like this is self-care and this is like actually being selfish.
Right. I think no, for sure. I think the lines get crossed all the time and they're not clear. People don't really get it, and I think like it really comes down to your intention. Like if your intention is like I want to be able to give you the best of myself the next day or give the best of myself, you know, like so then, you know, I think there's wisdom in knowing when to stop. There's wisdom in knowing when to go to bed. There's wisdom in knowing when whatever it is like that you're pushing yourself too far. I think there's wisdom in that, and so saying no is actually a strength, and being able to like, you know, you put yourself like out of that. So it's totally resonate with that.
And what about your thoughts on like speaking out more about like mental health and like relating to people with mental health?
I think that it's probably the most underrated thing right now. I think a lot of people are doing it, but I would say like it still hasn't reached like the inner circles of our friendships and things like that. Like I think there's like platforms for that I see that people are really being vocal, but I think in the inner circles where you're having day-to-day interactions with your friends, it's kind of like, oh, I'll keep that private, and I think that's fine. I'm a very private person myself. I think like you should kind of choose who you share information to. Like that's always how I've been, but I think like if we can normalize needing help, like my biggest thing that I want to like say, if I could say anything, is that, you know, there is such beauty and humility in asking for help and saying that you need help. And like that could be like the help could be very, very small, like, hey, let me give you some tips, like, you know, maybe start journaling, read this book. Or it could be like, hey, I need help, like I'm not feeling good, I am not doing okay. It's a wide spectrum of like, there's like again, like there's humility in that. If you have this like, I guess like if you feel like you can do it alone, then I think you've defeated the purpose of community love, and I don't know.
You've taken on a bigger burden than you were expecting. Because I think sometimes like I know I used to do this a lot, but I used to take on everything by myself. I thought like I didn't need help, and I didn't need help as in like I thought I was better, but I just didn't want to be a burden by asking for help or having someone have to help me.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, you know, the weight of the world is heavy. Like
Yeah.
it's not, you can't do this by yourself. Like you need
Yeah.
help, and you have to reach out, and like it's not only like I think like internally a really great thing, but like you'll realize like how much more you relate to people in general with it too.
And I think we weren't created to like do it alone.
Yeah,
like,
that's why there's so many people on this planet.
Yeah, there's people on this planet. Like there's, you know, like we're in community, we're in family relationships, we're in marriages, we're in relationships, whatever, we're in friendships. I mean, like that's the way we're wired, is to be in relationship with people, you know? So like it's great to be independent. I value that, but I think like it's like the biggest lie of the world that we should be. And honestly, the biggest lie of Western society, in my opinion, is like do everything yourself, like be self-sufficient. And like, yes, there's value in that. So great that you can do your own thing. Like I value independence. I run my own business. Like I love being independent. But I think like I ask for help in my business. You know, I have a community of people that I know are in my corner, and I ask for help. And the same thing goes for mental health. Like you wouldn't want to be independent if you had broken your arm. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, I can like do this myself. You would like go get help to like fix your problem. And I think like being really honest with yourself that this is the reality.
Yeah, and that's what I tell a lot of people too about like who have asked me about like counseling and therapy. Is like I always tell them, I'm like, it's a tool. Like you don't have to come into every session like sobbing like the world is ending.
Yeah,
like
not at all.
So if you have, my last question, if you have one thing that you want to, I mean, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but like one advice or one like thing either towards performers, either towards mental health, or just like, I've always wanted to tell this to the world because you're telling the internet now. What's like the one thing like you want to give advice or tell them? That maybe is something to help you even.
Yeah. There's many things. I have a lot going on up in here, but I think one thing would be like we kind of touched on it, but like the balance between taking initiative for yourself, taking initiative for your health, mental and otherwise, and also like surrendering to the process and knowing that like you are where you are, you're still valuable, you're still good, you're okay, you know, like you have a lot to offer this world. It doesn't really matter where you are on the spectrum of in your health and life, like you're still valuable. So it's kind of finding that balance between saying like I have goals and I want to better myself somewhere here, mentally, physically, like whatever, and also surrendering to this is where I am. So it's finding that balance, I think, that will create like a healthy contentment, not like you're content and like I'm just gonna sit here forever. Like a healthy like content. Like I can find the joy in every moment, even wherever I am, and still keeping in mind where I want to go. So I think that would be a good like great. Kind of like something that I've really been thinking about, and like I said before, just really embracing that we all need help somewhere. And so if you're not feeling good, if your relationships feel strained, if you feel like you know things aren't going the way that you wanted, there's a good chance that you should probably just go to therapy and like just get it checked out. And one thing I wanted to say too was like, I know like money is a thing, and I know there's a lot of like issues there, but there's so many like great free resources that you can check in with. And I think even just going like once a month is helpful. So like if you can't afford it, you know, like I've been there before too, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go for like every week for a month, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna like take a couple weeks and then do it once a month or whatever. I think just like being smart about that, and knowing that there's no judgment. So if you need to take a break from it and you're like, this is too much, then take a couple of months off, like it's fine. But keeping in tune with like the reality that it's beneficial, it's useful, and you can learn something from everyone. That's probably the other thing that I really wanted to emphasize. Like I can learn something from you, you know, you can learn something from me. And like if you don't open yourself to learning from your therapist or another type of counselor or something like that, if you think you have it all figured out, you're missing out. You just miss out. So
that's so true.
That would be my main like thing.
No, that's
like
great.
A tool for.
That's a great thing. this is going to wrap up the end of our interview. But thank you for coming, by the
You're
way.
welcome.
It was so fun.
Thanks for having me.
I know, yeah. And I'm going to post her Instagram down below, so make sure to check her out. And I'll also be posting some of the pictures we took today. So definitely like those. And remember, guys, it's nice to be nice. Be kind to yourself. One day at a time. We got this. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.